is a showrunner? A showrunner is, I'd say a lot of people say it's different things to different people, but to me, a showrunner is somebody who keeps a show running. They keep a television show running, and that is a very important way of putting it. And most of the time, a showrunner is a writer, not necessarily always the creator of the show, but always an executive producer. And they're the person who's responsible for basically keeping the trains running on time, making sure the scripts happen, making sure you're staying sort of on budget as prescribed by the line producer, making sure the actors are as happy as they need to be, working with the crew and the line producing side of the team, talking to the studio and the network, making sure the writer's room is moving forward, making sure that the scripts are creatively what the studio and the network are hopeful for, but also protecting the creative vision. It's a big job. I'm a fairly fierce showrunner, I like to say. For me, I feel like my best work is about being keeper of the story. Like my commitment, my real most important job for the audience is to be fully committed to the storytelling. And so when it comes down to it, that is where my allegiances always have to lie, the story. And so that is where all my decisions come from. There can be a big conflict when you're a showrunner between the creative and artistic side and the financial side and the sort of business side of things. You know, there's the financial side. You're given a budget for every episode. It's like a little movie. You have to stick to it. You're given sort of a mandate by the studio network of what they want creatively. And I don't mean they're dictating to you what the episode should be about, but say you've promised them a show about Meredith Grey. She's a surgeon. She's working as hard as she can to make it as a surgeon. You can't then deliver them a show about Meredith Grey, who's become a surfer, and she's working as hard as she can to surf and not going to the hospital very often, for instance. And then you have your creative side, which is you have to follow the story as the story is dictated in your creative spirit and soul, and as the characters drive it. And all of those things have to work together. Now, a lot of it is, for me, sticking to the storytelling. Storytelling is the most important thing. I have to follow the characters, but I also have to stay within the millions of dollars of budget that I've been given for the season, and I cannot go over that. Because if you go over that, then you are being fiscally irresponsible and you are messing with the studio network's money. I think the skills necessary to be a successful showrunner really have to do with the ability to communicate, honestly. What happens to a lot of people is they get afraid. And this, frankly, is for everything in life. People get afraid, and so because they're afraid, they stop communicating. Their fear makes them shut up. They think if I say less, people won't know that I don't know anything. When the best thing you can do is say, I'm the showrunner, we're $100,000 over budget, I don't know why. And then you say, I don't know why, I don't know what's happening, I'm confused. The best thing you can do is admit you don't know stuff, or to admit that you want to do something and you can't explain why, you just want to do it. The honesty that comes with that, of continuously talking and opening your mouth and saying what's going on, is priceless. Because what all people want is information. And if your information is, I don't know, that's even better than silence. Because silence makes people think you're crazy, you don't know what you're doing, you're, anything. And that's dangerous. As I've gone along more, I've also tried to really learn how to empower the people under me, because I want them to all know how to run shows. I've been able to empower people and say, like, you run this room, you do this job, to make sure that I'm valuing the people who are working there and delegating in a way that makes sense. Because what's my value? Like, what am I being asked to do? What am I really supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be the storyteller. And if I'm spending most of my time explaining to somebody why the budget is too high or something, that's not really what ABC hired me to do. It's not really what's going on there. I really should be working as hard as I can to make the best story possible. So I try to do the pieces of my job that I am best at, and then try to find, like Betsy Beers, who's my producing partner, I try to get her to do the pieces of my job that I am not the best at. And we've sort of come to that over time, simply because otherwise I'm not going to have time to tell story. We have too many shows. I think leadership is really about making sure that the people who work with you and for you feel valued and feel like they are also getting opportunities. You know, in a lot of ways, leadership is about making sure that you're not working in a hero model where everything depends on you, so that everyone's like, oh, Shonda. That's not interesting. And it's not interesting for them. And it shouldn't be interesting for me. Everything should be a team model. Like, everybody is valuable and everybody is necessary for Shondaland to succeed. And everybody should have that feeling. If they're not feeling that, then there's something wrong with the way I'm leading. So to me, making sure that everyone feels valued probably is the most important thing. The best thing to remember about being incredibly busy, and, you know, coming up, I'll have 6 shows on the air, 2 of which I've created and 4 of which, you know, we're executive producing. The best way to stay organized is to remember that the busier you are, the more productive you are in an interesting way. And to keep your time very clearly managed. I've stopped reading emails almost entirely, except for once a day. And I get 2,500 emails a day, which is why I've stopped reading emails. One, I've realized that most of the emails, even the work ones, are pointless. People send emails to send emails now, which is fascinating. So one, I've stopped reading emails, which used to take up ridiculous amounts of my time. 2, I've really started to close the door to my office and give myself the hour I need to focus on whatever it is I need to focus on. And I say, the door to my office is closed. Do not bother me unless it's, you know, the president of the network. 3, I've really tried to spend time doing the things that I know are necessary and thinking of it that way. You know, what are the things that the day cannot go by without me doing? Other than that, everything else is extra. And then I'll have these pockets of time where I'll discover, oh, wait, I have some time here. I've also truly learned that the work will always be there tomorrow.